Welcome to our 2:30-ish space capsule entitled Launching Your Seedling Story. This is precepted by the illustrious Sparrow Alden and the amazing Christopher Bartlett. Sparrow will be sharing their exciting plans ahead for June and beyond, like infinity and beyond, but cooler, in creative writing, and Christopher will give you a capsule sneak peek of the June module. Now that's where I get to talk about them. It's really cool. Sparrow graduated from Bowdoin College with a BA in English Literature and Psychology, and from Signum University, I was there, with an MA in Language and Literature. Sparrow is a skilled writer who shares her love of words by teaching several courses on creative writing in both Space and Signum Academy. She's a beloved member of Signum and plays many different and valuable roles here. On the flip side, we have Christopher, who is an amazing musician, singer, and songwriter, very bold in that, and a writer who brings his experience and teaching skills to space. At the press, his superpower is turning a text into audio performance by finding the best readers for each work, directing audio recordings, and editing the files into final audio books. Christopher curates the fiction hall of the Signum Collaboratory, shepherding new stories through the beta reading process. He is an attentive editor as well as a body worker, brewer, aikido-ka, and believer in fairies. Over to you, Sparrow and Christopher.
Thanks very much, Jean. Is this the year for your novel? Signum Space presents a cluster of 3 modules in a row designed to launch your seedling story. A seedling story is brand new. Maybe it's a great outline, or a just started draft, or simply a character concept. But in order to thrive, it needs encouragement, some deadlines to grow, and a community of writers to support both the story and its author. We present in June, Character and Voice, precepted by Christopher Bartlett, the fiction curator at the Signum Collaboratory. In July, Plot and Structure, precepted by myself, Sparrow Alden, your gracious host of the creative writing sector of space. And in August, Setting and Worldbuilding, precepted by Will Estes, the co-founder of Two Squirrels Press. Do you have to take all of them? Not at all. Take the ones you wish, and for the full experience, we did design them to resonate with each other. What will classes be like? We're planning on 6 craft classes per month where we share ideas from many modern writing teachers and our own experience as writers and coaches. We'll have in-class writing exercises and prompts which you can adapt to your own story. You might spend the time between classes developing those exercises. You might spend it working on your own story. To join one of our feedback workshops, follow the link in the chat. In the remaining 2 out of 8 classes each month, we'll check in on each of your specific stories, though we're not sharing our work for feedback. And if you're feeling a little worried about sharing the ideas in your heart, don't worry. We always use the encouraging philosophy of the collaborative feedback method developed here at Signum University. What is the difference in writing results when a writer receives kind and encouraging feedback instead of detailed criticism? They keep on writing, and the writing improves exactly the same amount as if they had had criticism. What if I'm not a real writer? Quick, pick up a pen or your keyboard. Ready? Everyone, no, I mean this literally. Pick up a pen if you think you're not a writer. Ready? Write the word cat. Congratulations, now you're a writer. Good, done with that. What if your story's not a seedling? You might be working on a fully drafted sapling or a revised tree story. What if you're deep in the 7th book of a 27-book trilogy? There are many modules to choose from in the creative writing sector of space, but I want you to know, during launching your seedling story, I'm taking my manuscript back to basics, taking the courses offered by my friends to examine my characters and raise the stakes for them, to deepen my world building and allow the setting to be a character of the story, silently influencing challenges and choices which make up the plot. What about that middle one that I'll be leading, plot and structure? We're going to discuss and practice different structuring methods, like using beats and scenes, like the Winnie the Pooh method of progressive outline for you pantsers. Yes, we are. We're going to look at the Save the Cat and the 27 chapter method. We're going to control pace by balancing action, dialogue, description, and introspection. We'll try reverse engineering your plot, ring structures, fractals, different kinds of developmental character arcs. We'll even talk about leveraging the mice quotient, all of which is about helping you develop the unique structure to carry the story that only you can write. Any direct questions in the... Oh, yes, Jean wrote an extraordinary story through the encouragement of space. I'm looking forward to reading your story, so please join us. I'd love to introduce my friend and fellow writer, Christopher Bartlett, who will entice you to try out the first of this 3-module cluster, Character and Voice, in June.
Yes, hello, Eric. Can you all hear me and see me?
Yes, we do.
Perfect. Perfect. I'm broadcasting from an undisclosed location. You're interrupting my honeymoon, which is my fault, not yours. But welcome to the showcase taster for character and voice. Thank you. Thank you, Rob. Well, welcome to the taster for character and voice, the Seedling Cluster course beginning the Seedling Cluster in June. And when we say character and voice, these are two things that are separate concepts, but they are very definitely related. This is going to be a somewhat participatory class. So I'm going to put a link into the chat, which I would love anybody who wants to play along. Please tell me if that came through.
Not yet.
All right, let me try this again. Let's see. My apologies. This is one of those things that I could not do ahead of time. There we go. Oh,
Got
it
it.
went all to the panelists.
Yes, I'll move it.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. I'm not used to being a panelist. So this is a document that that contains sort of the course notes for this particular class. And among the other things it contains are two versions of a scene telling the same facts, but from two different characters' point of view and using two different language styles. And these are among the things we're going to explore. Who's telling your story? That being is a character. What do you want to know about them? What do you want your readers to know about them? Is it important that they're a redhead? Is it important that they like the hottest peppers ever and think that, you know, habaneros are mere pikers and for amateurs? It might be. Is it important that they use a particular kind of vernacular speech because that makes them different from the other characters in the story? And maybe that shows you something about their background. Maybe that shows you something about why they are subject to all the prejudice in the story that you might be writing. So that's the character part of character and voice. The voice is about the narrative. Who is your viewpoint character, if you have one? Or are you telling Or are you telling a story that is all about that is from an omniscient point of view, where you get to learn everything and watch the characters twist and writhe as they act based on incomplete information that you have been giving your reader? Or are you going to tell the story through a very personal I narrative, a first person narrative, in which case limiting knowledge for both the character and the reader is absolutely necessary? All these are important choices. All these are things that will change the way you write. So, as an example of that, I want to look at if for those of you who want to play along, go ahead and open that Google Doc in the link and go down to the place where I have two scenes. The first one starts, "Oh Bella," and I want you to take a look at them. I'm going to read one. Sparrow, may I absolutely, in an unplanned fashion, ask you to read the second one?
I'd be happy to.
Good. I wouldn't have asked her that way if I wasn't pretty sure she would. So the first one starts. "Oh, Bella, the ball was so enchanting. All the young men were in such beautiful uniforms, and they seemed so gay and confident. I danced and danced until my poor feet were so tired that I had to have one of the officers, a colonel, I think, help me over to the comfortable chairs beside the dance floor. He was so attentive, it made my heart warm. The only damper on my evening was when some great goose of a house girl tripped over Marnie's hem and spilled an entire tray of drinks all over everyone's shoes. My attentive colonel did his best to keep the wine from staining my slippers. He is such a dear. There was some commotion after that, something about news arriving, but by then the colonel was being so ardent in his attentions that I don't rightly know what it was all about. Something about the general, I think, some news that he'd got before they all suddenly left. Now, now? I simply must go and lie down, for I'm feeling a little off all of a sudden. Where is my colonel when I need him?" Or,
Damnation! She swore under her breath as she tried to work her way to where the general's party were sitting. Whoever's idea it was to sneak her in as a serving girl was a damned fool, and insulting too. She'd have to find out and administer suitable chastisement. It hadn't occurred to anyone that balancing a tray of drinks, including the poisoned goblet for the general, was itself a physical skill that she didn't have. The result was predictable. She found her feet tangled in the train of a passing woman, and she and the tray went down in a shower of broken glass. The goblet that she and her companions had gone to so much trouble to poison lay in shards, its precious liquid puddling on the floor, staining the shoes and slippers of all who stood or sat near. Just then a stir went through the men as a messenger reached the general. The ball was over, and they'd missed their chance.
"Thank you, Sparrow." So here's where the participation, goodness, begins. When you look at or listen to those two scenes that cover the same basic facts, there's a ball, there's a general. At the end of the scene, everybody gets up and goes, presumably because some news has come in. There's an accident involving glassware and the staining of everyone's shoes and slippers. What do you notice that's different about the two tellings of that scene? And just go ahead and chime in the chat, or unmute yourself if that's a thing we do here. What's different? And why might? Mm-hmm. 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 So you're, as you're thinking about these, ask yourself the question: if I were writing this scene, why would I choose one way of narrating it over the other. And I'll start you on that. As has been said, one feels more like a romance, like it might be appropriate in a romantasy book, and one feels more appropriate to be in an espionage book or story. The fact that Bella is not feeling well might be if the author were trying to obfuscate the fact that there's poison, maybe a contact poison even. Bella being the one who gets sick instead of the general might be the first clue that something is amiss. And that's a very different story progression than if your viewpoint character is the assassin playing the servant girl. Right, Jean, exactly. Whose story is this? Is this Bella's story, or is this Bella's friend's story? Sorry, whose name we do not have. In which case, we probably have her name from earlier. And in that case, I'm using a first-person narration. So I'm specifically limiting the information the reader has. This is an element of voice. The issue of Bella seeming to have a more genteel language. Now, we don't know that yet, do we, Bruce? The question of the language that Bella's friend uses, being more genteel, that is a piece of characterization. This woman is clearly from, or at least believes she is from, some kind of upper crust of society for whom the ball was being held, whereas, of course, the assassin is masquerading as a servant, but her internal language, the fact that her first thought is damnation, probably indicates that she is of a lower social class, and that's a piece of her characterization. The fact that the assassin is interested in doling out punishment for whoever's stupid idea this was probably means that she feels she is a competent person to do such a thing, as opposed to Bella's friend, who probably would just bat her eyelashes. So all of these are important examples. Just checking the time. All of these are important examples of things one might, or choices one might make as a writer when you're thinking about the beginning of telling a story. Whose story is it? What is important that we know about the person whose story we're telling? And maybe you're telling the story of multiple people, in which case you might be choosing multiple viewpoint characters, such as George R.R. Martin does, or J.R.R. Tolkien for that matter, though done in different ways. If you're telling the story of one person, are you going to choose to be within the mind of that one person? Are you going to choose the I, first person narration, or are you going to choose one of the third person, he, she, they kinds of narration? And the answers to those questions will shape your story. They will make what Brandon Sanderson calls tone promises, which is how he describes the things a reader picks up in the first few pages of your story. Is this an adventure story? Is this romantasy? Is this brutal realistic, or is this high fantasy? Am I going to see a lot of violence? These are all questions that come out in your voice. I mean, if you start your story with somebody getting shivved in a prison, and you tell us all the details about them, you're making promises that this is the kind of story that your reader is going to expect, which gives them the choice whether this is the kind of story they wish to read. Now, for the rest of the time that I have, I would like us to participate in a wee exercise. And I will copy this into the chat. Maybe. Yes, good. Does that come through?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Then did that go through to everybody? Or just the panelists?
No, I will.
Will you? Thank
I
you.
will.
Sparrow saves me on a regular basis from the uh, inherent problems of being a screen reader user and trying to teach a class using Zoom. So thank you, Sparrow, for this and many other kindnesses.
And thanks to Rob, who got to it before I did.
Ah, even better. Well done, Rob. Thank you. So here's an exercise. Take that same set of facts that you've heard about in the first two versions of the scene. There it is. At least it came across to me. So thank you. So take the same set of facts, and over the course of the next, let's see, what do we have? 10 minutes, Pilar?
This is Jane. You have 7.
Okay. So let's modify this then a little bit. Instead of actually writing out a paragraph or two about the scene, tell me how, if you were writing this scene from the point of view of the general's intelligence chief, what might you include in the scene? And what kind of language might they be using? Like, again, we don't have time to actually write out the scene, but this could be a story seed for any of you. I absolutely give you permission. So let's just take 3 or 4 minutes, if you will, and just if you want to participate, write out some thoughts and then put them in the chat. Let's see what we get. Thank you. Another minute or so. Yes. Thank you, Bruce. Ah, good, Bethany. Yes. So your chief of intelligence is not one of those people who loves getting into the. Yep, Stacy. But back to Bethany. Your chief of intelligence is the sort of person who does not want to get into the hurly-burly of interpersonal things and would rather deal with data and other professionals. Now, let me go look at what you just put in, DJ. Mm-hmm. Oh, Zoom, why aren't you behaving? All right, well, in the interest of time, I'll just go ahead and wrap up by saying this is the kind of exercise that we might be doing in one of the craft classes in June. Analyzing points of view, analyzing language, looking at two versions of a scene, pulling out the differences that are important to you as a writer, not as a reader per se, because those are different. Because as the writer, you are making conscious choices, even though many of us have had the experience of having characters ambush us, mug us, take our lunch money, and demand to be in the story anyway. So if you are interested in participating in this kind of writing class, please do go ahead and enroll in the June class, Character and Voice, in the creative writing sector of space. I'm sure Jean can put a link into the BlackBerry entry for that class. Are there any questions? Hearing none, I will commend you all to the rest of the day. And I will assure you that any of you who picked up a pen or keyboard and wrote the word cat, your cat will be saved and will be provided a sufficiency of mice for your cat to indulge in. So be well. And by the way, this is just a small piece of my honeymoon. I've actually been married for almost 20 years, but we take honeymoon when we can. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for Sparrow, who had to abscond for a previous obligation. And it's great to have you here, Christopher. It's always good to hear from you. So thank you for that really awesome session. I love creative writing. I always have, but one thing that I've loved about the process that Sparrow and you have fomented upon us is the fact that not only are your stories seedlings, your writers are seedlings, and you help them grow in ways that I could not have imagined. So, as somebody who took one of the classes in this overall process, thank you very much.